Hello viewers, we are going to change recurring decimals to common fractions. You must note that a recurring decimal is a decimal number that has a repeating digit or digits. For example, if you have 0.3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 without coming to an end, is what we refer to as a recurring decimal. A recurring decimal. It can also be 0.4, 4, 4, 4, so many times. In order to avoid writing it like that, we have a proper way of writing that recurring decimal in a summarized way. Instead of writing 0.3333 many times, you can write 0.333 and you put 3 dots to mean that it is repeating. It is a repeating decimal, or you can even write it as a single digit and you put a bar, or as a single digit 0.3 and you put a dot. That's how we can write what we call a recurring decimal. Now, in our first example, we are going to handle one repeating digit, which is a 3. So if we are changing a decimal, a recurring decimal, which is 0.33 recurring, which I can also write as 0.3 with a bar to mean recurring, we consider some steps. Okay? We consider some steps. Since we are changing it to a fraction, we are going to name the fraction that will be equivalent to it. Let the fraction be x. So our fraction that is equivalent to 0.3 in this method, because we have several methods of working out this, is going to be an algebraic method. So we are saying this x, which is the fraction we are yet to find, will be equivalent to 0.3, a recurring decimal. So which means 3, 3, 3 repeating itself. Because we have already created equal signs, x is equal to this, it means it is an equation. Since it is an equation, we can go ahead and give it number 1. Name it. We give it equation 1. Then from there, what do we do to equation 1? In order to come up with the fraction we want to solve and find, represented by x. We need to know that this decimal point is between 0 and 3, and it has to go behind the first 3, such that we get that repeating decimal continuing. So our major task on number 1 is to find a way of taking the decimal point from here to behind 3. Here. So what are we going to do? We are going to multiply by 10 on this side. But since it is an equation, 10 must be multiplied on both sides. So we say 10 is multiplied by x, which is equal to 0.3, a recurring decimal, multiplied by 10. Since it is an equation, what you do this side must be done the other side. So 10 times x will give us 10x, and this will be 0.3 recurring multiplied by 10. It will just move the decimal point to behind 3, but the recurring element will continue. So the behind 3 will be many, because it is recurring. It is only the decimal point that has moved behind the first 3. So now, this is another new equation. Because x is equal to 3 was equation 1, this is different. 10x is equal to 3.3 is another equation which we can call equation 2. So now we have 2 equations. What are we going to do in order to find a single x, the equivalent of single x in terms of fraction? So at this step we shall be subtracting. We are subtracting. The next step, subtracting equation 1 from equation 2. So this one, take away the first one. Equation 2 is 10x, which is as good as 3.3, which is recurring. Then we are taking away, since we are subtracting something which is in the form of equation, the subtraction sign can be put here. Then we take away 1x that was equivalent to 0.3, which is also a recurring decimal. The 3 continues. So I can ask you, if you have 10 goats and you are taking away 1, You remain with 9 goats. So 10 x's, take away 1 x will give us 9x, which is as good as here. Unlike the ordinary numbers, when we are subtracting whole numbers, where we begin from our right, here we shall begin from our left because these are special numbers. So 3 take away 0 gives me a 3. Then I respect the decimal point in the line. Then I'll ask myself 3 take away 3, which will give me also a 0 there. So instead of writing 3.0, which is the same as 3, I'll just leave it there and say this is 9x, which is equivalent to 3 now. I ignore the 0. Then on my next step, I'll think of solving this equation by dividing both sides with a 9. 9 once, 9 into 9x, it will give me x alone, which is as good as 3 out of 9. That 3 out of 9 is a fraction, which is equivalent to 0.333, which we said it is referred to as a recurring decimal. But it is not in its simple form. We can still have find a number that can divide this to get a simplified fraction. We can say by 3 once. If we reduce by 3, 3. And finally, we shall have this as a third. Therefore, 0.333, which is recurring, is equivalent to a third as a common fraction. Now, we have several examples we can give you on this as an activity. Examples which we can do in the same way. But still, we request that you attempt the activity that is going to be following this video and you submit the work for marking. I thank you.